Welcome to the Storytime Adventures for Adults video series. Today we will be reading Part 2, pages 95 to 99 from Songs from the Depths by Meg Johnson. Aggie and I walked all day, and still the elusive ranger station remained just out of reach. Girl, I have got to stop. Aggie frowned but relented. Yes, okay. I dropped my pack and chugged some water. Thank God Ryan made us buy all that water, I thought guiltily. I left them out there. Why do I always do that? Not all bridges need to be burned, especially when I'm still on them. Aggie sat on a boulder and leaned back against a tree that had grown right behind it. We should try to get a little farther. This isn't a great place to stop. Aggie, I can't keep going. My feet are killing me. Aggie huffed a sigh and jumped off the rock. Fine, but we won't have room for a fire. I crushed the empty water bottle and glared. Fine, whatever. I'll layer up. I just want to sleep. I pulled on a few sweatshirts, including the one I had taken that morning. I inhaled deeply. It smelled familiar, but I couldn't place the scent. Finally, I unpacked my bedroll and all but collapsed onto it. After a tense few minutes, Aggie settled down by my feet. I'm sorry. I'm not used to traveling with anyone. I've been on my own for a long time. I rolled onto my back and propped my head up so I could look at her. Me too. Aggie nodded. I could tell that about you. We are kindred spirits, you and I. Uh-oh, I thought. Now is not the time to get into this. Yeah, I guess. My voice sounded rough to my own ears, and I swallowed hard. It sucks when your own family doesn't understand you, doesn't it? Aggie nodded and pulled her guitar into her lap. My sisters and I lost contact over something very petty a long time ago. The world is not kind to people like us. I nodded in agreement. Aggie started strumming and I felt my eyes grow heavy. We only have ourselves. Exactly. 800 BCE. Sister, I employ thee. Stand by my side. Support me. Stay with me. Anyone watching would have thought that the three sisters stretched out on the sun-cooked rocks were completely oblivious to the foamy white tide inching closer to their pointed talons. To the ship that was sailing dangerously close to their island, that person would be dangerously wrong. Even at rest, the three women watched their island with a keen eye and killer instincts. The sirens, the guardians of Persephone, had been banished to this island by Demeter. Since that time, the eldest sister ruled their tiny sanctuary with an iron fist. All rules followed, nothing out of place, and every day the same as the day before, especially when it came time to eat. She sat up on her elbows and opened her crystal green eyes. Ladies, we have company. Following her sister's gaze, the other two spied the ship in the distance. Sun-bleached sails billowed in a wind that would send the ship right to the jagged rocks hidden beneath the water, marooning the sailors. Their fate was sealed. The youngest sister ran her tongue over her fangs and said, Thank Persephone for that. I'm dying of hunger. Do you think they're protected? They're too far away to know for sure, but I hope they aren't. Wouldn't it be nice to have a full meal? The middle sister, Aggie, lay back down, her wings spread wide to protect her skin from the heat of the rocks. She threw an arm across her eyes to shield them from the sun. Well, whoever they are, they sure are brave sailing this way. PCNY looked at her younger sister. You could be a little more excited. We haven't eaten in weeks. Aggie turned her head toward her sister. You haven't eaten in weeks. My last catch lasted me a good long while. Why do you keep bragging about that? You know you should have shared him with us. In fact, when we realized how long you'd kept him and hadn't even started to actually eat him until we found you, we should have punished you then and there. That's what I've been trying to tell you. We don't. Enough. The Lexiopeia, the youngest, pulled her white blonde hair over her shoulder, taking care to make sure the ends weren't tangled in her raven wings, ready once again to mediate between her sisters. It's done. We've moved on. All I know is that I'm hungry. I can't wait. Can we sing now? Can we? PCNY smiled placatingly at Lexiopeia. They would never hear us from that distance, but there are others who would. She was thinking of Demeter. the scorned goddess who blamed the sisters for Persephone's capture, and of Poseidon, the god who, if he heard them singing before the ship was within the boundaries he set for them, would make sure the sailors were protected, even if they had left port without saying the appropriate prayers. PCNY ran her hand over the ribbon of scars on her arm from her last meeting with Demeter. No, we will wait. Agalope sat completely forward and wrapped her arms around her knees. We could fly to our borders and help them find their way here. PCNY glared at her sister. Why don't you understand? That's how this works. We are exiled here because we failed Demeter. This is our punishment. To feed on scraps that they denied to allow us? And we should be grateful they allow us to eat it all. Agalope turned to Lexiopeia, who was staring stonily out at the water, avoiding both of her sister's gazes. What do you have to say about all of this? She shrugged. There's nothing to say. We're stuck here. We feed whenever we ensnare a ship that was stupid enough to set sail without Poseidon's blessing, and to actually sail into our rocks. And you two will go on arguing for the rest of eternity. Agalope mistook her sister's anger for sadness, that she and Pisionoi were fighting again. She wrapped her arms around Lexiopia's shoulders. I'm sorry. We'll stop fighting. We don't mean to upset you. Lexiopeia pushed her sister's arm off and stood. I'm hot. I'm going in. Tell me when I need to come out and watch for the ship. She stormed to the cave where they slept, leaving her sisters in a stony silence. This was Part 2, pages 95 to 99 from Songs from the Depths by Meg Swanson. We will continue reading Part 2 on October 7th. Next week, we will read Social Conundrums, Part 4. If you can't wait until then to hear how the story goes, feel free to purchase the book at www.megswanson.me. If you'd like to contribute to these series, please feel free to become a patron on Patreon. Details for joining are on my website, www.reneeannhughes.com. And also please subscribe to this YouTube channel so you won't miss any new videos. Goodbye, and thanks for listening.